One villainous scene, huh? I gotta jump in on that discussion. And with that, welcome to my channel, my friends. One Villainous Scene is a series of YouTube videos started by an end of movies, and he got together a lot of different creators that discuss movies or TV shows, and some of them discuss even animation and all this stuff. And they should talk about one scene from a villain they really like. He did this with Marvel, like they talk about their favorite Marvel scene or from the X-Men movies, and now he's doing it with villains, and I love villains. Yeah. This is in honor of the new superhero movie Suicide Squad by James Gunn that's coming out soon, and I could talk about superheroes. I could talk about supervillains. There are a lot of amazing villains that I could talk about, like Killmonger, Thanos, Loki, Joker, all of these. Yeah, they are very well written villains, but a lot of them have already been covered, and I want to talk about something more niche. I want to talk about animation, and again, I could talk about a lot of different things. Like I watched with my sister. I watched Infinity Train, and Simon from season 3 is a genius villain. I love him. It's a genius villain. I could talk about a classic. I could talk about Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Again, genius. Or I could talk about Maul from Clone Wars. In Clone Wars there are many different villains I could talk about there, but I want to talk about my favorite piece of media. I want to talk a story of which I genuinely think that is the best fictional piece of media ever written. People that have read it will agree with me, and people that haven't read it will after they read it. Okay? Of course, I'm talking about One Piece. You read the title of the chapter, you know the villain. I want to talk about One Piece. And just as a quick reminder, as a quick warning, I can't use clips from the show here because Toei strikes everything that has One Piece clips in them. So I'm gonna use panels from the manga, but I also talk about the show. Yeah, they are both the same. There are a lot of different villains in One Piece, and every single one of them is great and serve an important purpose in the story. Okay, not every single one, not like those losers I'm gonna blend in here. But it was hard for me to decide which one to choose. Yeah, again, I can list a few examples. Like I love listing examples, as you can see. For example, I thought about Arlong and the theme of racism. It's really geniusly represented. Then I want to talk about Bellamy. He's an underrated villain, and the theme of dreams. Then I want to talk about Inaru, for example, or he's the dude that looks like Eminem, and or Doflamingo, and talk about the theme of gods and the natural enemy of gods in the world of One Piece. But I decided to make a video about Sir Crocodile, and I decided that because he's my favorite villain. And we can finally start talking about him after this long intro. Why Crocodile, you ask? All the themes you mentioned before, they seem to fit perfectly for a video like this. What makes Crocodile so special? And you are right with this assumption. Crocodile doesn't incorporate a theme as deep as racism or the concept of dreams, but I want to talk about him because he is special when you look at the story of One Piece as a whole. I want to talk about Sir Crocodile because I shit myself every time he's on screen, and because this character changed my whole view on the concept of a villain. Yeah, you have to remember, One Piece is a story written, like, for example, someone made a video, I watched a video from the scene, I can't remember who did it, but on Invincible, and Invincible is an animated series, but it's made for a more adult audience, and One Piece is written specifically for the classical shonen audience, like young, growing boys. And this is like the field where you watch the show and you see Sir Crocodile, and he may be one of the first villains you see that does the things I'm gonna talk about this video. A villain isn't just a person to beat. It is a person to overcome and a hindrance in the journey you need to conquer to achieve your goals. And the first real wall in Monkey D. Luffy's journey, that now spans like 1,000 chapters, yeah, the first wall to become the Pirate King for Monkey D. Luffy is Sir Crocodile. That is why I want to choose the first fight between them. Yeah, there are 3 different fights if you don't know One Piece. There are 3 different fights between Sir Crocodile and Luffy, and I want to choose the first fight as my scene. Maybe they are connected really strong. Maybe I'm gonna talk a little bit about the second fight because it is very similar to the first. But why do I choose this? A fight scene is not usually a scene you choose to explain why a villain is so genius. You choose like a scene where they talk about themselves, where they have a long monologue or something smart. But I want to choose the fight scene because Sir Crocodile, he isn't a smart villain, a deep villain. He isn't that. He doesn't have a complicated backstory. He doesn't have like a sick motivation. Like for example, he has a backstory, but it isn't relevant in this arc. In the arc where he is the main villain, and he doesn't have a deep motivation except that he wants to become the Pirate King. He wants to become the Pirate King, and he needs a weapon for this. And the weapon is in Alabasta, the country he is trying to conquer. It's a country inspired by Egypt. It is very pretty, and he wants Pluton, the ancient battleship that can destroy a whole island. And that's his whole. He wants to become Pirate King. He needs a weapon for this. This is not it's not deep, but I think he is used in a way where he still becomes a genius villain, even though he isn't like something you find like a Joker or something, someone that people like, that is very deep and has a double meaning and everything like that. He doesn't have that, but he is still used to become a genius villain, and I want to talk about this because one of the most important things before we can talk about the scene, is that Crocodile has a lot of build-up. Crocodile, without this build-up, he is nothing. Up to this point in the story, Luffy goes into an arc and defeats has to deal with the villain there, and defeats him. And then he goes to the next arc, has to deal with the villain and defeats him. And in the Grand Line, it's a specific part of the ocean in One Piece where most of the story happens. This is different because he still goes to an island, defeats the villain there, and goes to another island. That is still happening, but the islands he goes to and the villains he defeats are connected because his goal is Alabasta, the island where Crocodile is, and the villains he encounters on the islands on the way are underlings of Sir Crocodile. He is having troubles, and he is still defeating them, but he is having trouble, especially for example on Little Garden with Mr. 3. He's having trouble with the underlings of this person he is supposed to fight later. They are the characters in the organization Sir Crocodile leads. They are named after numbers or holidays. Like they are always. It's like a James Bond type organization that is really cool. It's called Baroque Works, and like Sir Crocodile is the leader. He is called Mr. 0, and the second strongest is called Mr. 1, and then Mr. 2, Mr. 3, Mr. 4, Mr. 5. And they all have a female partner that is named after a holiday, like Miss All Sunday, Miss Doublefinger, Miss Golden Week, Miss Merry Christmas, and all this. And he is defeating these people, not all of them, but he's defeating some of them on his way to this island, and he's still having trouble. And they all are afraid. They are strong individuals, and they are afraid of Crocodile. This build-up is just insane. It's amazing. It's something a lot of shows don't do these days, and haven't even done like before. it's a lot of the I enjoy really that the build up is so strong. And then he finally comes to the island. We explore here to the island of Alabasta. We explore the history of Alabasta. We learn Sir Crocodile is faking. He is a hero. Like, actually, let me explain it like this. There are 7 pirates in the world that are sanctioned by the world governments. They are called the 7 Warlords of the Sea, and Crocodile is one of them. And Alabasta is a country. It's an island, but it's also a country that is part of the world government. And Sir Crocodile set up his base there, and he is a hero of the country because he is sanctioned by the government, and he destroys other pirates that try to loot the city or something. He beats them, and the people love him for this. But in the shadows, he is trying to overthrow the government of Alabasta, and he's trying to get the ancient battleship Pluton. But we learn about this. This is not really that important. It's very interesting for world building and all of this, but for the sake of Crocodile, it's not important. They get to Alabana, where it's a town where the casino is that Sir Crocodile leads. He's very, very inspired by like James Bond villains. You can see it by his looks, and yeah, we confront him. We learn a little bit about him, and he leaves. But he explains that he is like he made the people of Alabasta rebel against their king, some people, and there's a war going on, and he's leaving to view this war and take the country after the rebels and the monarchy have destroyed themselves. Sir Crocodile, after that, the Straws follow him, and he confronts Luffy in the desert. And this is the scene that I want to talk about, because we already know that Crocodile has an ability, a special ability, and he can turn into sand. Like his whole body can turn into sand, and he can control sand, and that's especially why he chose Alabasta as his base, because it's a desert country and there's sand all over. But we still think it's it's typical for the hero to win in a story, yeah, and in the end, the villain is supposed to lose and the hero wins, right? Everybody knows that going into a movie and a series, and everybody expects this outcome. Of course, there are some movies where this gets flipped on its head and the villain wins or something tragic happens at the end. But the Alabasta Park and Sir Crocodile focus on a different way of subverting these expectations. Sir Crocodile and his first fight against Luffy achieve a feeling in the viewer. A feeling of fear, a feeling of confusion. After this fight, the viewer thinks, I knew Luffy wins in the end. But how? The overwhelming force presented by Crocodile seems impossible to conquer. And this is what is very exciting about this. Up to this point in the story, Luffy has not really lost a fight. Luffy beat everyone he intended to beat in his first attempt. Only like Smoker was a character Luffy couldn't beat, but also didn't need to beat. He could just run away from him. But with Crocodile it's different. He needs to be defeated. Otherwise he will take over the island of Alabasta, and he will get the secret ancient battleship, and he will try to get Pirate King. But Luffy wants to be Pirate King, so he needs to defeat Crocodile. But Luffy can't defeat him. Crocodile's ability to turn to sand makes Luffy's whole arsenal useless. Luffy is a brawler. Like, he fights with his fists or with his feet and with his head. Yeah, he can stretch, but he basically just punches people all the time. But he can't do that with Crocodile. It's useless. The first fight against Crocodile isn't really a fight, it's a struggle. I use the struggle against an impossible to beat opponent. And throughout this fight, the viewer or reader has the hope that Luffy is gonna invent a new trick, learn a new ability or unlock a new power, but he just doesn't. And the fight ends like this. Yeah, it's fucking cool, right? It's something so unexpected. You don't expect it from a kids show like One Piece. You don't expect it, and it's so, I don't know, it's burned into my brain. And if you haven't read One Piece, read it, and this scene will burn into your brain as well. Crocodile is not a complex character again, but his intimidation factor and the pure evilness he represents are just so amazing. And it's something I haven't seen like this in any other show. Please tell me if you have a character that reminds you of this. But it's something I haven't seen a lot, and I wanted to talk about, and it's something that needs to be addressed. It's just the scene I chose, like the first fight, isn't that complex. It's just a fight, but it's a struggle, and it's something that makes you emotionally feel for the main character. You know, Crocodile is evil. He manipulates people. He kills people. He lets them die just to achieve his goal. But the main character is impossible. The main character has no chance of defeating him. He can't defeat him. And this is where I come to the second fight quickly before the end, because this is all I wanted to talk about. Really, Crocodile isn't deep. The scene isn't deep, but it is something that is in my heart, and I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, the second fight, that is way later. In the second fight, Luffy learns the weakness of Crocodile. He learns the weakness because Crocodile is sand. Luffy just has to cover him in water to be able to hurt him, because water clogs his body up. He can turn into sand, and then Luffy can hit him and defeat him. But Luffy still loses the second fight because Crocodile is a smart character, and he does not goes all out if he doesn't have to, because he is sand. He has the ability to dry out everything he touches. He uses this on a human being. He uses this on Mr. 3 to make him look like this, and he uses it in the second fight. He uses it also on Luffy, and he uses it on the ground. He uses it to turn everything into sand, because more sand makes him more powerful. And it is so amazing to me that Luffy, he wins. He just survives the first fight after he got stabbed. He survives because someone helps him. And the second fight, he just survives on pure luck, because water drops on him and makes him humid again, not like this dry mummy form. This is just something amazing. It's so, I don't know any villain that is a wall like this and is so intimidating and is so fearsome like Crocodile in his early appearances. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. It's I hope I can get this into the playlist of One Villainous Scene. I hope I get some people to watch One Piece, and yeah, I hope the new Suicide Squad movie is gonna be good. Maybe I'm really feeling it. Maybe I want to do another villain video, but yeah. Till then, check out the other videos in the playlist, and have fun, people.